Putting a mobile radio in your car? Well, here's how I did mine, so please keep watching for more. Hi, I'm Michael, KB9VBR, your host for Ham Radio Q&A. I'm on a mission to inspire and educate the amateur radio community, so if this is your first time watching, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Well, I recently just purchased a new-to-me car. After years and years of being second and even third in line for the nice vehicle, it was finally my chance. So this meant that I was able to put a radio back in the car. Although, you know, I had radios in some of the other cars that I'd driven. You know, when the kids started driving, it became more and more difficult to keep the radio in the car because I just didn't know which vehicle I would be driving on a day-to-day basis. But that was no longer the case. And since taking ownership of this 2014 Subaru Outback, I immediately made plans to outfit it with a new radio. I know, you know, I could have put in one of my older radios that were in some of the previous vehicles, but I decided that since I have a newer car and I was going to do an install from the ground up, I'm going to put a new rig in there. So I started doing my research online. I knew what I wanted for a radio. It had to be dual band with dual VFOs. It needed APRS support. It had a really nice screen, crossband repeat, compact design, you know, and potentially something that offered some kind of digital operation. Since every radio in this that fit these features had a removable head, my plan was to put the radio body underneath the driver's seat and the control head somewhere around the dashboard. So this narrowed my choices down to 3 different rigs: the Kenwood TM D710G, the ICOM ID5100A, and then the Yaesu FTM 400 XDR. So which radio did I choose? Well, after a lot of discussion with users and poring over specifications and reviews, I finally made my decision on the Yaesu FTM 400 XDR. And the reason is a fewfold. First, the radio had those dual VFOs, so I could run 2 bands at the same time, monitor one and operate on one. Just like the Kenwood, it had very good APRS support, which was important to me. And also, the one thing that the radio had over the Kenwood is it gave you a really nice APRS interaction right from the control panel. The ICOM had APRS features also, but the problem with those is that you really need to be in range of a D-Star system repeater in order for those APRS features to take effect with the ICOM radio. Also, the FTM 400, I feel, had the nicest of the control screens that I saw. It has a very nice, bright TFT LCD screen that's easy to read and operate in the car, touchscreen operation. The control head is a little bit smaller than some of the other radios, so the form factor fit the dashboard of the Subaru very nicely. And digital support was another nice option, although that wasn't one of the key deciding factors on why I selected the radios. But after using this radio for a little bit, I really do enjoy the ease of the Yaesu System Fusion digital system. So enough about the radio. I'll do some more videos in the future about this particular radio. But the choice of a particular radio, really, that decision is up to you. What your needs are, you know, how it's going to fit, what your operation styles and habits, and what you have to work with inside your vehicle. All of those are great rigs, and I would highly recommend any of those 3. This is just the one that I settled on. So let's take a look at the power and the antennas for the mobile installation. So first, let's talk about power. It can be easy and convenient to just run your radio off the cigarette or accessory lighter in your car. But the only problem with that is most of those accessory ports are limited to about 10 amps of power. So if you're running a high-powered mobile radio like a 50-watt mobile or something like that, there's the current draw is going to be too high for that accessory port. So the best bet to give you the most reliable power connection for your radio is to run directly from the battery through the firewall into the car. My power starts here at the battery. I have both a positive and a negative power line connected right directly to the battery. Both sides are fused, and a 10 gauge wire running from the battery through the firewall into the car. Now you could probably get by with a 12 gauge power cable, and usually when you buy a mobile radio they come with a length of either 12 or 14 gauge wire, but I wanted to have an extra power capacity in case I wanted to add a second radio in the vehicle. So I chose 10 gauge wire, which will give me enough capacity to satisfy the current draw for 2 of those radios. Next up is getting your power cable through the firewall of the car. Now different vehicles have different holes and openings in the firewall that you might be able to dig around and find a grommet or a hole or something that you can snake some wire through. I've got a 2014 Subaru Outback, so with the 4th generation Subarus, there's usually a grommet just to the left of the brake booster that's unoccupied, and you can snake a cable through that. Now my car has a manual transmission, so that hole was filled up with the components for the clutch booster, so I'm kind of stuck. What I ended up doing was there's a nice big grommet right here that I was able to peel out, and the car's electrical system runs through that. There was plenty of space. I just sliced a little hole into that rubber grommet, snaked the cable through, tied everything down. The cable came up on the other side right over underneath the dashboard by the glove box, and I was able to kind of hide everything, clean it up along the console. All right, let's go over to the back of the car and take a look at the antenna. Now there's always trade-offs when it involves putting antennas on your car. Research tells us that the best place to stick the antenna is drill a hole smack dab in the middle of the roof and mount the antenna there. But since I got a roof rack and I want to be able to use that roof rack, I kind of didn't want to deal with that. Plus too, with these modern cars, you have to deal with pulling the headliner, and the side curtain airbags are in the way. So I looked for a little bit easier route and ended up mounting the antenna onto the lift gate. What I'm using here is the Diamond K400S NMO mount. It's a highly adjustable mount, so it can go into various areas on the lift gate, on the hood, and the trunk, anywhere there's a nice lift for it to attach to. And connected to that, I'm using the Comet SBB5 dual band antenna. The SBB5 is a half wave on 2 meters, and it's a 5/8 wave times 2 on 70 centimeters. So, you know, a nice medium gain antenna. It's working well for me so far. I might upgrade to the SBB7. It's a little bit longer antenna, but this one, you know, tops out at about 6 feet 2 inches, so I have no problem getting into parking garages the way the antenna is mounted here. The Diamond K400S antenna mount uses a RG316 cable. It's really thin cable, so it makes it relatively easy to route that cable along underneath the plastic trim and other components of the car. I found a video online on how to install a backup camera in this car, and it gave me a lot of insights on how these trim pieces can come off, what's underneath here, and it made installation of the antenna mount a lot easier. So I was able to go underneath the trim here, through this rubber tube along the edge of the headliner, down the pillar, and along the edge of the cargo area to where the cable ended up to the radio main unit, which is located underneath the driver's seat. The radio itself is mounted on a small piece of plywood, so it's kind of free floating underneath the driver's seat. I've done that with other radios and it works pretty well for me, so I usually have no problem with that, and then I can slide it in and out if I need to make any changes or adjustments, connect any cables or whatnot. So let's move inside and take a look at the rest of the installation. The radio itself is mounted to the dashboard using a Panavice mobile device holder. I was able to pull this trim out, and the mount screws on to next to the climate control system. Fits very nicely, and it's out of the way of all of the knobs, so it wasn't that difficult to do. I looked at a different variety of clip and friction mounts for the control head, and I found that the Panavice mount really fit my needs the best. I liked how it kind of screwed in, and it was going to be a secure mounting point for the radio's control head. Now, a couple of things to think about if you're mounting a radio in the car is to be really concerned about where the airbag zones are. So, off to the side and the steering wheel are not places you're going to want to install a radio, so be aware of that. If you put the radio up on the center top of the dashboard, just realize that in an accident, that radio or that control head is going to become a moving projectile. So the best is to kind of keep it to the center and low as possible. That's the safest place to stick a radio control head in a car, away from the airbag zone. So moving forward, I still need to do a little bit of cable management. I've got some of these little command strips to help keep the wires in place. So I'm going to see how well they work in the car, if that's a good solution or not. I don't have the microphone clipped or anything like that. I did, when I brought the mic up into the car, I did take a RJ12 connector box and an extension cable. So I have a nice long cable here, but I still need to do a mic clip, and I'm going to try maybe those command strips too, to see if that works better, because I really don't want to drill a hole in the dash, not quite at this point yet. So a couple of things I need to do. The audio is a little bit muffled with the speaker underneath the driver's seat, so I need to install an external speaker, and I'm looking at different locations, maybe something down under my feet, by my feet or under my feet, that's pointing upwards towards me, will give me a lot better volume than underneath my seat. Well, that's pretty much it with my mobile setup here. Pretty happy how it turned out. I'm still thinking I can add a second radio to this. I've got room on the Panavice mount here. I could probably extend this for a second control head. Everything kind of stays out of the way of the passenger, so I'm happy with that. They're still comfortable. And it seems to be working quite well for me, so kind of happy there. I hope this gives you some insights on your own mobile radio install. Now, please consider that every vehicle and every radio is going to be a little bit different, so you're going to kind of have to take your own spin on things, but just kind of wanted to put this out here as best practices in installing a radio in your car. Do you have any mobile radio installation tips or suggestions? I'd love to hear them in the comments below, so please leave them behind. I'll certainly respond to those. And also, for more ham radio articles and information, be sure to check out my blog at www.jpol-antenna.com. If you enjoyed this video, as always, give me that big thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Check out some of the other videos that are suggested alongside here, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Pressing subscribe will notify you when future videos are released. So I'm Michael, KB9VBR. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and 73.